what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of the ForneverWorld podcast. I am your host, as always, ForneverWorld, alongside my co-host and very good friend, Daniel Santos, aka ShintaiReviews. Shintai, tell the people what is going on!
What's going on?
21 episodes, baby. Shoutouts to everybody that was rocking with episode 20, that deep dive of Berserk. Me and Shintai came to...
Wait, does this mean that the show is old enough to drink?
Wow. That's funny. Yo, God, you stupid. Oh shit. No, we're no alcohol zone here, fam. We're straight edge. No, but
Straight edge, but I am drinking coffee, so
yeah, I just downed the whole fucking large espresso.
yeah. I mean, we're not drunk. We're super fucking sober.
Yeah, I'm like super awake. Like, I hope it doesn't show too noticeable on this episode, because I feel like fucking talking my life away. But maybe that'll be good for the episode. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna tackle today. I want to give a little appreciation to the antagonists, villains, the quote unquote bad guys that don't really get enough recognition, at the very least from our perspectives. Maybe you disagree. No, everybody talks. That's fine. But from our perspective, from what we see, from how we feel, they don't get enough credit that they deserve. So without further ado, I'm going to start this one off with one that we both on our own came up with our list, and they were number one on our list, which is fucking hilarious, but also speaks volumes to how great this character is and how much praise he deserves and doesn't really necessarily get. And that character is, Shintai, do the honors, please.
Kotamina Kire.
Legend, and he's from...
We need to like walk on eggshells with this motherfucker, though. We don't want to spoil anything, but we'll do our best.
It's been a while for me, so there's not gonna be too many like specifics, to be honest with you. Like yeah, I haven't watched it in a while. Fate Zero, or Fate Stay Night for that matter. So I think I'll be okay on the spoiler territory. But
and you haven't watched Heaven's Feel yet. You saw the first one. But
okay, yeah. So I'm lying. That was, I think, my last time I've seen anything Fate related. Now that I think about it, the first Heaven's Feel film that I watched in
I haven't watched the second one yet. The third one is coming out. But I did read the visual novel, and let me just say, you're in for a fucking treat with his character. That's all I'm going to say.
Actually, before we even do that, Shintai, give a little introduction to this character and what he's like, without getting into too spoil. Like, to even tell you he's a villain is kind of a spoiler to one part of the franchise.
Yeah, a little bit. Because that's the thing, right? Like, in the beginning, we have Fate Zero. Fate Zero is the prequel to Fate Stay Night. And I'd say even in both stories, it's kind of... It's not made obvious at first that he's a villain. But I think in Fate Zero, at least, you see more like his progression into that role. As opposed to in Fate Stay Night, where, it's more that, like, he's like the puppet master, and, and he's just like, he's like doing shady shit in the background and making moves and making things happen without the other characters realizing it.
He's a mastermind. He basically mastered his craft by that particular point.
Yeah. So kind of the deal with Kotamina. So he's a priest, and in Fate Stay Night, he is the one that's in charge of the Holy Grail War. He's basically like...
Holy Grail.
Yeah. What is it?
I was just saying Holy Grail in the way a Jay-Z reference. Carry on.
He's kind of like the regulator. He's like, kind of sort of the referee almost in Fate Stay Night. But in Fate Zero, he's just one of the participants. And he's actually working with other characters to try and help them get the Holy Grail. But then, you know, the more you watch Fate Zero, the more you realize that he's slowly developing, coming to his own conclusions, starts to realize what he wants, and things don't go according to plan. I'll just leave it like that. You just gotta watch the show.
Let's kick this off with this question. Fate Zero version of Kotamine, Fate Stay Night version. Which one? Which is the better one? Which one's the one you enjoy more? Like, and everything, total package from the character design to the way he acts. Like, I definitely know my answer. I'll throw mine real quick.
I know for you it's definitely Fate Zero.
Yes, because like that is the alpha, omega, end all, be all. Just like, in case people don't know this, because I seldomly say it. Like, probably like twice a year I mention it on the channel. Fate Zero is arguably, in my opinion, the greatest anime of all time. Like, it is an absolute masterpiece. Like, I put it, like, hands down, it'll never leave my top 5, period. Like, no matter what I watch, I don't think anything will ever smash it down. Like, there's no 4 other anime, or even top 3 for that matter. Like, yeah, that's more appropriate. Like, it probably will never leave my top 3, but I just think it's damn near perfect. So I'm automatically too biased to even like go like, yeah, Fate Stay Night, especially the Unlimited Blade Works by Ufotable is great, all of that jazz, but yo, Fate Zero, baby. But let's get Shintai's a little less biased because he loves the franchise. I want to say equally. Which version?
That's extremely difficult for me to answer because I feel like in Fate Zero I loved seeing Kotamine's like character arc, and I love seeing his, you know, him turn into what eventually he becomes in Fate Stay Night. But then at the same time, I fucking love seeing him in Fate Stay Night already a fucking beast. So like, I don't know, I can't choose. Like, I will say this though, I think I preferred his character design a little bit more in Stay Night, because in Zero he looks a little more cleaned up, he looks a little more proper, but like in Fate Stay Night, he, you know, his hair is a little more like unkept, and I think it leans a little bit more. It's a subtle kind of indication of how unhinged he is, while in Fate Zero his more cleaned up design, you know, shows that he's still holding on to his humanity in a way. And, you know, both designs work for what they're going for, but I kind of just like that in Stay Night, like, he's kind of he's full blown fucking crazy, and he's like not trying to hide it as much.
Dude, I mean, if you look at it, and I'll give it to this credit right here, because like if you want to compare it, essentially, and by no means am I saying the material is reflected by these demographic viewings and whatnot, but Kotamine's Fate Zero is essentially like his shonen journey, and then Fate Stay Night is his seinen journey, which again, by no means, because like they're both way too graphic to even be considered in the ballpark of shonen, according to, you know, the way people look at, you know, what shonen is supposed to be, yada yada yada. But in Stay Night, just think of how really fucked up and creepy it is of what the wool that he's pulled over Ren's eyes since she was a little fucking girl. Like, you're a sick fuck to really be playing with this little girl's mind. Like, you think about it, he's traumatized the shit out of her, especially once she finds out what he's been up to this whole time.
especially what he's done. And I can't even say it. Oh my god. Because the thing with his character, and I gotta be vague here, but an important distinction with his character is that, like, he sees the beauty in tragedy. So he fucking loves that shit. It's not like, just like killing someone isn't what gets, isn't what does it for him.
He's not the basic serial killer. He's nothing like that.
Yeah, like, just killing people, that doesn't do anything for him. Like, that's not what excites him.
He's not Dexter.
It's the thought that, like, oh, someone is going to be so sad over the death. That is what he enjoys. The misery.
So fucked up.
He like from the bottom of his heart, he loves that misery. Like, and what I also find really compelling about his character is that for a while he understood that this was fucked up, and he felt guilty about it, and he spent a large portion of his life trying to figure out like what the fuck is wrong with him, and I just love his character. He's so good. I mean, I can't say too much, but yeah.
The whole priest motif is literally seeing an external visual of his internal conflict, like him going to the church and all that shit. And I don't remember if it was specifically actually stated or whatever, but you'd imagine that that's him fighting with himself, of like, you know, he has this sick, almost poetic from his perspective viewing of this, you know, really inhumane act of what he likes to do and shit like that. So him going to the church is kind of him trying to fight his demons, so to speak, and you're actually getting to see it externally of what a piece of what he's going through mentally, at the very least in Fate Zero. Again, by Stay Night, he's accepted, I am a scumbag. He's actually even spitting in the face of what he was initially going through in Zero, because he's already like, you know, he's playing this role of like, yes, you know, the heavenly father guide and all this shit, but he's already just completely batshit crazy, and he's using this as a ruse. Like, there's no conflict at that point.
No, yeah, like there is something to it where I forget where this is revealed. I think it was in the visual novel when they start to delve into his backstory, but he does have this conflict, and he did ask himself, like, why would God make someone like him? Like, he actually asked that to himself, like, you know, he's like, why am I so fucked up? Why did God make me like this? And that's such a, like, for a character who's a priest, that's such a weird, fascinating, like, conflict for that type of character to have.
And by no means are we glorifying, you know, like, first of all, of course, this is fiction, but on top of that, like, we completely understand he is a pile of fucking shit. He is a terrible, terrible human being. Yeah. But it's just fascinating, like, the layers to his character, the way he's written. For me, I'm more so just so intrigued by what he is in Zero. Like, I still appreciate, and I look at him as he's great in Stay Night, but I think I would argue more, like, if I'm trying to, you know, extract my bias from around this particular topic, I would throw the argument there's less screen time of him in Fate Stay Night than there is in Fate Zero, because, like, he's like, we don't even get the big reveal of, like, he's this monster until towards the end of Stay Night, right?
Sort of, because, like, I feel like if you combine his screen time in the visual novel with between the three routes, then it's arguably the same or more than it was in Zero. But if you just look at one route, then yeah, he doesn't have nearly as much screen time. So it's a little gray in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he's still a fucking legend. The fact that he's so godlike in two different fucking like, they're the same franchise, but two different series, Zero and Stay Night, and he's still a legendary. To put it basically, he is a fucking beast. Great written character. One of, like, and it's weird, like me and Shintai was saying off mic, that people love to, they'll reference Fate, they'll reference Shiro, they'll even the hardcores will reference Kirisugu, but Kotamina don't really get enough love, and he deserves it. He is a great written villain, antagonist, and character as a whole.
Absolutely. He deserves way more attention, I believe. And it's strange to say it for such a popular series, like, because, you know, when we first got into Fate was, you know, kind of known, but it wasn't nearly as well known as it is now. Yet, despite that, there's not enough people spreading the good word of Kotamina's greatness.
Like Kotamina spreads the good word that he doesn't even believe in. Oh shit. Yeah, like you got into it obviously before me, because you was into, you know, hardcore, into the visual novel and shit like that. I want to say it was What you, and it was really you that kind of like got me into this fucking greatness back in 2012, 2013, I want to say, when you said like, yo, this.
I want to say that was when we first started talking and became friends, was because I remember I recommended you Fate Stay Night, and then you randomly decided to check it out, and then you messaged me, you were like, whoa, this is really good, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'll never forget, and people probably think like, what the fuck, because there's still to this day so much hate for the Fate route that Dean did, which there's a lot of valid criticism in retrospect now. At the time, I was very, very blinded by, I was just emotionally fucked up by the relationship of Saber and Shiro, and people argue it's unrealistic. Well, there's several different types of relationships in the world, right? Like everything isn't, oh, girl meets boy and they date. Like, if anything, I feel to a certain degree, taking away the fantastical, she's King Arthur, and I know I'm diving into a different topic, but just please let me bust this nut real quick. I felt like their relationship felt so interesting and intriguing. The fact that she has these insecurities of like, I have a muscular body and this and that, and he's looking at her like she's almost taking the dominant role. So I found that fascinating. And when the ending, which I won't spoil, I'll just say that I was very, very fucking saddened and broken, and I needed to release. And I wonder what channel we did it on. I want to link it in the description if I can. The discussion that we recorded talking about the ending and the relationship between Saber and Shiro, because that was like fresh of like my heart bleeding to talk about this.
Yeah, we recorded that like ages ago.
Yeah, that shit was something else though. But yeah, I know I straight off, I just had to let that off. I know, I just couldn't help it. It's like you bring up Fate, and here I am.
It's an emotional series for the both of us, so like it's fair.
Very, very fair. I mean, legendary fucking series. And Kotamina, well, you know, at the very least, we giving him his flowers now. Fucking great character.
So on that topic, real quick, if you don't mind me throwing in one of mine.
Yeah.
So since we're talking, this isn't a Fate character, but since it's in like the same realm, one of my favorite anime is Kara no Kyokai.
The films.
So these are like written by the same dude, and the villain in Kara no Kyokai, his name is Araya Soren. He's actually voiced by the same guy that does Kotamina, which is really cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
His design is a little bit similar, but like the two characters are very different. So like Araya Soren's character, like the big thing with his character that I really liked and thought was interesting was that he feels that there's a lot of people that died in vain, that kind of died for nothing, but he feels that at the very least, if he could at least acknowledge, like if he was there for their deaths and he can acknowledge them, that kind of gives their deaths meaning. And I was like,
oh shit,
that's fuck. That I remember that hitting me really hard when I saw it. I was like, that's insane.
Is he the villain for all? Because there's what, 8 films, I believe, 7 or 8 films.
There's 8 films. But he's not in all of them. He's mostly the villain of the 5th film. He's
okay.
He does. You do see him a little bit in some of the other ones. He's kind of like in the backgrounds. He's in the shadows. He's like, puppeteering and shit and that kind of thing. But he.
Side note: is this a Ufotable project? If I remember, it's Ufotable, right?
Yes, it is.
More reason to like. This is one that's been on. Like, actually, I want to say years back. Admittedly, I know shameful people say, but I had pirated all of the films, and I remember I watched like the first 1 or 2, and if maybe my memory is mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it at the very least it starts off as like a murder mystery, like people like jumping off buildings and shit?
Yeah, that's the first movie. That's the first one.
Yeah, okay. So I kind of vaguely remember. I remember enjoying it. It's just one of those things like there's no bad reason why I never completed them. It was just like watching anime at 3 a.m. and kind of forgetting about it. That was literally why I never followed up, because I remember being like, holy fuck, what is going on? But you saying that, so is this guy present at the very least in the first one, or you don't even know shit about him until the fifth one?
I don't remember if he's present in the first one, but I think in the second one, at the very, very, very end, he makes like a short appearance, and it's kind of like a foreshadowing of things to come. But like, I think, but if I remember correctly, he is actually responsible for some of the stuff that happens in that first movie. You just don't see him. But I just think, yeah, I don't want to, similar with Kotamina's character, I don't want to say too much and like spoil stuff, but like, I think he's definitely an underappreciated villain. It's like, he's just really fucking badass and interesting. And he also has like an amazing fight with the main character in the fifth movie. It's like one of my favorite fight scenes in anime because it's just so well animated. Because it's ufotable.
I'll tell you what. And this is just a side note. It was about 10 episodes ago. I don't even know how many episodes ago. We had made we were supposed to start a segment. My piece of shit ass never started watching the Tatami Galaxy. I still plan on doing it, right? But this has been on my docket for many, many years. Like, a lot of people that are starting to wake up to Ufotable's greatness due to Demon Slayer know that Ufotable's greatness, and this Garden of Sinners, that's the English name, right? Garden of Sinners?
Well, Kara no Kyokai translates to Boundary of Emptiness, and Garden of Sinners is like the subtitle.
Okay. If I get an opportunity, which this is one, again, that I really like, even talking about it right now, it's like, oh my god, I just want to stop talking and go watch this shit. We will do, if Shintai is down for it, once I watch all the films, I would love to do a full-on episode dedicated to talking about this, because from the same creator of Fate, it's from Studio Ufotable. I've heard nothing but praise. Shintai's been praising this shit for years and years and years. That's something, as long as Shintai's cool with it, I promise we will do a full episode breaking this down, because it deserves it from what I've heard.
I've been planning on rewatching Kara no Kyokai anyways, so I'm fucking down.
That sounds like so, because it's just talking about this and the way you're praising it, and I know like it has all the credentials. Is like you're praising it. It's from Ufotable. It's from Nasu. Yeah, this is one that deserves a full-on episode, just diving into each and every facet of this film franchise. Because I mean,
I will say this to anyone that's like listening to this and they're like, oh, I want to get into it. I will have to give a little bit of a warning, just because these movies are slow burns. So if that's not your thing, maybe not get into it. It's a lot of it is about like the atmosphere. It's a lot of it's like, you know, putting the viewer in like a certain mood. You know, it's kind of slow. They're kind of slow paced, but at the same time, I feel like all of that just adds to the experience. So if you're down for that sort of thing, I'd say give these movies a watch. I think that they're fascinating, you know. And again, they're not to imply like nothing happens in this movie. That's not the case, you know. There's things that are happening. I'm just saying that, you know, they're not for everyone. But I think for the people that this would appeal to, it's fucking amazing. Some of the fight scenes in it are amazing. The visuals are gorgeous. It's ufotable. The music is by Yuki Kajira, who did the soundtrack for Fate Zero. Like, I think the story and characters is phenomenal. Like, I fucking love these movies. They are fantastic.
The only thing is, if you want to watch it on official things, best of luck, because the DVDs and Blu-rays are out of print, and I don't think it's on any streaming services. So I hate to burst anybody's bubbles, because right now, while Shintai was saying that, I'm like, oh, by the way, let me see, maybe I'll order the Blu-ray, then I forgot, like, yeah, it's,
I mean, I don't think it's out of print. I think I saw it on Right Stuff, but they're like $200. I have my Blu-ray set right here, and I mean, for me, it was worth the money. but I'm a crazy fan, so I don't expect, people to just like, oh yeah, let me just drop $200 on this fucking movie series. Like,
well, in case people don't realize, I trust Shintai's recommendations very, very, like, I have a lot of credence to, I think that's the word, to when Shintai recommends something. So this would be something that not only has all the credentials behind it, Shintai recommended, I would probably, for the right price too, like, I'm not going to spend $500, $600 on, a box set and shit like that. Like, even Fate Zero, back when the sets were coming out, I think I paid about $150 per set, which still $300 for Fate Zero is bananas. And if you don't have the especially in the time we're in right now, don't do that at all. Like, save your money, figure out another way to watch it. I don't want people going out like, hey, ForneverWorld and Shintai told me to spend my whole fucking rent money on Garden of Sinners, Karada Kyokai. Like, no, please don't.
no, yeah, I mean, if you have to watch it through other means, do what you gotta do. And again, especially, I'm saying that, like, these movies aren't for everyone. So you just gotta know what your tastes are. If you enjoy a nice slow burn, if you like something that's like thick with atmosphere, something that's also creepy, something that's dark, like, I'm sure some people were like, oh, but I liked Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works. I had some dark moments in it, but, it had a lot of, lighthearted. There's not really a ton of lighthearted shit in Kara no Kyokai. It is much darker. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize about Nasu, is that his actual strengths as a writer, in my opinion at least, comes from his horror. Like,
it sounded for a minute there like you said from his whore. Like, he got some bitch tied up. He got this whore over here that just gives him these fucking ideas.
No,
oh shit, this fucking whore over, yo, bitch.
His strengths as a writer comes from his horror writing. Like, he...
This goddamn... oh shit.
His strength as a writer comes from his spooky writing. Is that better?
His spooky writing.
Spooky.
Oh shit, that was good.
Because, like, I remember when I was reading Fate Stay Night visual novels, when I was reading Tsukihime, another thing that he wrote, the best fucking parts were when he, like, especially in Tsukihime, the best parts were when he was writing about how the main character was going insane. Like, literally going fucking insane. And that, like, and reading that shit and being in the main character's head as he's going crazy is such a trip. And that's where I think, like, Nasu's writing really shines, where he's like, he's writing this, like, kind of, like, disturbing, scary shit. And I think some of that, shines through in Kara no Kyokai as well. There's some, like, disturbing stuff in movie 5 especially. So again, I was just trying to put out that warning. I don't want some little kid, some, like, 13-year-old to watch Kara no Kyokai movie 5, and then they're like, oh, there's the scene where the woman's heart gets ripped out of her chest. Like, again.
Oh, fam. That's happening in shonen now. Literally, I don't want to spoil it, but in anime I just watched, literally a dude ripped his own heart out of his fucking chest, or gory and shit. So that's not. I think people be covered on those bases nowadays.
I'm just doing my due diligence, okay? I don't want any fucking little kids crying to me saying, Shintai, why, Daniel, why did you recommend me this? I'm scarred for life, I'm just doing due diligence.
Shit, no doubt. Let's bring it in back though, because we kind of, once again, we're trailing off. from me, and I'm pretty sure you've seen, I mean, come on, but people don't talk about these characters enough because everybody jumps to Z. They rarely touch up on the greatness which is arguably the best parts of the Dragon Ball franchise, with Dragon Ball. And two villains I'm gonna throw in because I think the other one deserves more recognition as well, that people don't really talk about, is Mercenary Tao and King Piccolo. King Piccolo probably gets more praise because I see here and there, but Mercenary Tao was a phenomenal villain, and I feel as though that's when Dragon Ball started to get a lot more serious, when Mercenary Tao showed up and was just like a ruthless motherfucker. Do you remember Mercenary Tao?
I'm trying to remember.
Dude with the
was that
ponytail.
Okay, the pink, right? The pink.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. I remember that motherfucker.
That dude.
He was cool. He was really cool.
This motherfucker used to rip a tree out of the fucking ground and throw it and jump on it and ride that tree to his next destination. Like, if not only that, he fucking I want to say, did he almost killed Goku. Goku had to like climb the tower to get stronger. That's when he actually went up Korin's tower for the first time, and then he had to train with the sacred water and shit. Like, that's when it started little by little to get more serious, because like Dragon Ball, like the first arc is one of the most like, you know, comedic stuff, Emperor Pilaf and all that shit, and then after that I think we get like what, the first tournament or some shit like that, like Goku trains for the first tournament. That's again not all that serious.
Master Roshi calls himself Jackie Chan.
Yeah. No, Jackie Chun, yeah, but classic shit. And then like after that, when it starts diving into the Red Ribbon Army, not Jack, I almost said Jackie Chan. An army, yeah, he was the leader. No, Mercenary Tao just like really took it up, and like I remember when I was watching, like, because I never finished OG Dragon Ball back when it was airing on Cartoon Network back in the day, Toonami and shit. Like, it was probably like 09 or 2010 when I actually finally got and watched the whole entirety of Dragon Ball. And I remember just getting worried for Goku. Like, obviously I know, hey, he's gonna grow up to be a Super Saiyan and all this other shit, but I remember watching that and being like, how the fuck is he gonna do this? This dude is a psycho. Like, I remember a dude tried to like shoot him, and he was walking with his back turned, and he like kicked off one of his slippers, hit the bullet with the slipper, caught the slipper back on his foot while he's still walking normally, and kept walking. Like, motherfucker was crazy, like vicious, everything. Like,
can we just praise Toriyama real quick, because like the amount of crazy shit that he came up with to convey this villain's like not just like strength, but his skill is like, it's super creative, you know, like you said, like he would like break a tree and throw it and then like jump on it and stand on it, you know, like just like crazy shit like that to really get across like the craziness of the of this guy's ability. Like, fucking Toriyama was on some next level shit even in his early days.
yeah, and it's funny, going back to Jackie Chan, a lot of the martial arts and all those techniques and shit like that, Toriyama was very, very inspired by Jackie Chan. There's actually a photo of the two of them together back in the day, Toriyama and Jackie Chan. Like, he was a massive fan of Jackie Chan, so I think a lot of the martial arts and stuff come from that inspiration, and like the crazy techniques, obviously, you know, to an extreme of exaggeration and stuff like that. Like, you know, jumping on a tree that's going 1,000 miles per hour is not possible, but I think a lot of the inspiration came from like those old kung fu films and shit like that.
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense though, because one of the things that Jackie Chan is known for, especially a little bit later on in his career, is that he would use the environment to his advantage. Some of his older films are a little bit more straightforward, like kung fu movies, but like as his career progressed, he made these like amazing stunts where it was less about the actual martial arts, even though that was obviously a part of it, but then it became like, how can Jackie use a fucking ladder in a fight? And then he would like, you know, he would use it to catch the person's head, and then the person would try to catch up to him, but he can't because he's stuck on the ladder. And then he would like flip the ladder around, you know, then you like smack him across the face, and like, you're just doing all this crazy stuff. And when you think about all that crazy stuff and then translate it as inspiration for Dragon Ball, makes sense.
Yeah, dude did like great fucking just shit that like is unimaginable, you know. And this is early. Like I feel as though Toriyama gave like some of his best stuff in terms of like creativeness in that time period. Dragon Ball, the Mercenary Tao, King Piccolo, all that shit. Because then, you know, Z later on just becomes like, oh shit, his hair turned yellow and his muscles is really big and he's throwing these big beams and shit. Like the creativity of Toriyama is probably shined the most during Dragon Ball, when he was really like, you know, coming up with different techniques, different lessons that came metaphorically and shit like that. And I think a lot of like metaphorical shit comes from also even the Mercenary Tao stuff. Like there was a lot of metaphors of like, you know, training and understanding yourself, and the tap water in particular, I think it was called the sacred water, where Goku, he loses to Mercenary Tao, climbs Korin's tower, and Korin's like, yo, if you drink this water, it'll give you the strength you need, but in order to drink this water, you got to get it from me. So for days on end, Goku keeps trying to get the tap water, eventually gets the water, finds out the water is just regular water, and the power came from him getting strong enough and fast enough to get the water from Korin.
What a great lesson. Like that's just awesome.
That was like peak Toriyama. Like people, you know, we clown on Toriyama nowadays, like, because in 2020 the shit that he's pulling is like, yo fam, we did this shit in the Cell Saga like 25 years ago. What are we doing here? But
at the same time, what's he got to prove? Like,
yeah, you know,
he's just rich, doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, yeah.
He probably barely remembers who's Goku at this point. Like, oh yes, the guy with the tail, right? Some shit like that.
Cog.
No, Toriyama Sensei, it's Goku. Ah, Goku-san. Yes, I remember him very well. And he's like probably thinking of like an Arali character or some shit. Okay, and another character that both Shintai and myself wanted to talk about and kind of give a little praise. I think out of every character we've mentioned, he's probably the least one that gets talked about. Like Dragon Ball, you know, you're going to get some motherfuckers going to talk about Mercenary Tao. The Fate franchise, I'm sure you're going to get one or two people talking about Kotamina. But this character from Psycho Pass, Maki Makishima, I don't really ever see, especially like in 2020. Maybe when Psycho Pass was going, you would get some mentions, but in 2020, you ain't really hearing people mention this dude. And this dude was a pretty damn awesome villain. And if I'm not mistaken, funny enough, there is some slight connections to Fate even here, because the person that worked on Psycho Pass was Urabuchi the Butcher, who worked on in collaboration with Nasu on Fate Zero. So this guy, and I think he didn't have like all the involvement in Psycho Pass. I want to say after a certain point he dipped out on the production of Psycho Pass, but
he did do season 1. I think season 2 is when he dipped. I think he may have come back for season 3. I'm not totally sure on that. And I think he also did the movie. But not totally sure. I heard very good things about season 3. I only watched season 1 though, but I should catch up.
I heard season 2 shit the bed.
Yeah, I heard season 2 was not so good, but that season 3 was like really, really good. Like some people say maybe even better than season 1.
Yeah, and shout outs to Akira Amano, the creator of Katekyo Hitman Reborn, because she did the character designs for Psycho Pass, and you can see I love her art style. Like, do you remember the name of the main female protagonist, the agent?
No, but I know you're talking about. She had like short hair.
I love those character designs, like all of them in general. Like shout outs to Akira Amano. She's such an underrated, underappreciated creative in general in like the manga space and whatnot. But
her designs in Psycho Pass were great. Like
they have this unique, almost cute to a certain degree look to them, but then at the same time there's like a ferocity. Like the characters are like still like they'll fuck you up in a heartbeat.
No, yeah, especially the female characters. Like I think maybe not the main girl. She just looks more cute. She leans harder in the cute, but yeah, I don't mind that. But like some of the other female characters, especially, I agree with that.
Yeah. So Makishima, basically in this world of Psycho Pass, to give you guys a setting in case you haven't seen Psycho Pass, if you have like strong negative feelings, the world is run by machines at this point. Machines are basically the detectors. They're almost like the police in this world, where they can detect if you are at a certain level of like you're basically you're capable of committing a crime at this point, because whether depression, whatever the case may be. So these machines are capable of quote unquote telling who's the bad guys, which, you know, you'd even argue, okay, well, who programmed the machines to begin with to pick this up? Whatever, that's neither here nor there. This guy though in particular, he, no matter how evil his thoughts are, no matter how bad his intentions are, the robots never pick up on his malice. So they never can really stop him, and their guns are programmed to take down people that have like a certain level of like, you know, they're a criminal basically. So they can't even really use their guns against this guy Makishima, and that's one of the fascinating things. Okay, so he's bad, but the robots and the machinery can't pick up that he's bad. So why is that? And he's very fucking slick with it. He gets away. He does some fucking terrible and disgusting things. Like, this dude is a monster incarnate, and it's interesting because, like, is it because he doesn't look at himself as a villain or a bad person that he gets away with shit? Like, there's so many questions there of how he skates on by through the mechanics of the series that is set up to stop people that are quote unquote again bad.
Yeah, I mean, it could be argued that maybe he's like a complete sociopath and he's just like so disconnected from like his emotions. But I think there's also something to be said, like, yeah, he probably also just genuinely thinks that, like, no, I'm doing the right thing. Like, this shit's fucked, and I'm just, you know, the only sane person here who's saying it how it is, and I'm just doing what's right. So of course, the psychopath system isn't going to register him as, you know, as being a deviant, because his thoughts are not, because like, I think the way that it works in psychopaths is it the person's emotional state gets to like a certain level of like stress or turmoil or something. Like, it's been a few years since I've seen it, so I don't remember the deep specifics of how it works, but like, you know, the way that the Makishima is like, I think because he either, again, is a sociopath or just so truly believes in what he's doing that it doesn't trigger it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like that. And I think his whole motive is that he disagrees with the system of the robots and shit like that. So he's murdering people to showcase an example of the flaw in what the world has become with these machinery that are being the, you know, judge and jury. Because I think, and it's real fucked up about this series too, is that if you reach a certain low point, the machinery it picks it up or whatever, there's no turning back. I think you get jailed and that's it. Like, you're fucked in society because like you're damaged goods at that point, which is really messed up. Like, again, who decided that these machinery are capable of saying you're no longer an affected person?
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, but you just gotta watch the show if you want to find out those answers.
What a great deep dive, Shintai. Oh shit.
No, but you're asking like, oh, who decided this? That's kind of answered in the show. Like, they do have an explanation for it, but like it's a big plot twist, so I'm not. That's why I'm like, oh, okay.
I know. I'm just fucking around. But Makishima, it's been a while for both of us. That's why we're not also going like into vivid detail, because it's been at least like 5 or 6 years since I've fucking seen it myself. So
I will say this though, something I really liked about him was that he was very charismatic. Like, whenever he was on screen and whenever he was talking, he's just so interesting. Like, even if he was saying was crazy, the way he said it was like, you know, if you weren't picking up on like what he was saying, you could maybe see yourself going like, oh, maybe he has a point, you know. And but even to his credit, he is kind of right about certain things. Like, the nature of their society is pretty fucked up, you know. Even though the way he's going about it is completely wrong and fucked up, but he isn't necessarily wrong that, like, yeah, having robots decide everything for us, not great, fam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a wild card in a kind of flawed society, but still, shout outs to Makishima. Like, honestly, we're probably the first people in all of 2020 to even mention this motherfucker's name.
That's a shame, because he's not like the greatest villain ever or anything like that. I don't think he's going to be in the pantheon of anime villains, but he's still a cool ass villain. He's still like way better than like your average run of the mill villain. He's interesting, you know. He's, like I said, charismatic. He's even kind of likable, you know, which is an interesting trait for a villain to have. Normally, you're supposed to hate a villain, but you know, by the end of the show, you might kind of be like, oh, you know, I like that dude, you know?
I wouldn't mind having a fucking hot coffee with this lad. Okay, so wrapping this up, the underrated villains. If you watched this up to this point, let us know an underrated villain you feel that doesn't get the credit he deserves or she deserves in anime or in manga as well, if you'd like. There's a fucking slew of manga villains I could go over as well, but we're wrapping this bad boy up. Any final thoughts you got on any of these underrated villains, Shintai?
Watch Karano Kyokai.
Karano Kyokai. Oh shit. I'm probably yeah, that seems like something. 2020 I've been clearing a lot of bucket lists. Like I finished reading Magi. That was one that was on my bucket list of like, okay, I got to get that done. I think it's time I check this off my bucket list as well. And it's, you know, highly acclaimed, so yeah, it's about time. With that being said, let's jump into our segment of what we watched, read, or experienced for the week. I want to start off with, it's not anime manga related, but I'm sure a lot of people are interested in this. The Borat sequel. The Borat sequel on Amazon Prime. If you've seen the original Borat, you know it's a dude. He pretends to be from, was it Kazakhstan?
Yes, you mesh.
And this one picks up where the last one left off. He's disgraced as a reporter in Kazakhstan. You know, he's like finished. They got him like working in like, I think he's like he's jailed or some shit like that. They shave him up, bring him into the office and say, hey, you know, because like they make a joke about a lot. It's very politically aimed. I would even argue wherever you fall on the spectrum, hey, it is what it is. But it feels more like it leans left because it takes like the humor is at the expense of like right-wing people. Just keeping it real. It does feel like you know, it's just attacking Giuliani, attacking Trump, attacking Pence, and it's fucking hilarious to me. Like the shit is funny as fuck of the things of Borat, and it also is like, you know, you take even the comedy aside, it's a measuring stick of where society is at with certain aspects. It's fascinating on multiple levels. It's definitely mainly though like just holy shit, this is funny, from like Borat's daughter doing shit of like, I remember she went to was it, I don't think it was a church, I want to say it was like a Republican meeting or some shit like that, and she just, because throughout the whole film she's thinking that she's not allowed to touch down there, which I'm trying to be very, you know, was steering clear. And she just figured out that she is allowed to, and she's not going to get sucked into a vortex for doing that. And she goes in there and starts telling all these conservative women, like, you don't even know, it feels so good down there, it's amazing. And they're like, because they're trying not to be like judgmental and shit, because she just came in there and said, my father has been lying to me this whole time, I just finally figured out. So they're thinking like, oh, you know, maybe she was abused or some shit. And she starts talking about her vajayjay, and like, it's fucking hilarious. Like, I don't know, it was so fucking funny. Like I was howling laughing to this goddamn film. Like definitely worth the wait as far as the sequel goes. If you're like not really into political, and it's not really political humor, but it's like, again, at the expense of political candidates and shit like that, maybe you wouldn't want to watch this. But I was fucking dying, fam, I ain't gonna lie. Like, you want to laugh, hit up that Borat sequel. Him, his daughter going to America, it's fucking funny as shit. Aside from Borat, you know, same old shit. You know, I've been keeping up with When They Cry Go. I don't know where the hell the series is going at this point. It's like using similar elements to the original, but again, since it's a sequel, it's like changing shit up. I'm sure a lot of people are confused at this point, because you remember When They Cry, how like after 4 or 5 episodes, it does a reset, right?
Yes.
I'm sure, because at this point it's already done the first reset after episode 4, so I'm sure people are like bugging the fuck out, like, what is going on? All of these characters are alive again. So I'm interested seeing like people's reactions and shit. But it's been fire, it's been crazy, it's been scary. So shout outs to When They Cry Go. We're not gonna touch up on Yashahime. Fuck that shit. I don't got the time for that right now.
But I watched episode 3 of Yashahime.
Oh god. Oh no.
What do you mean,
Go ahead,
God,
Shint.
oh no? You were the one that were like, that was defending this show. You were the one that were like, no, Shintai, you're going too hard on this show.
No, but we had like a fucking 40-minute debate on this shit last time. Like, I'll just say, because I think there's like 4 episodes now. Probably by the time this airs, there's 5 or some shit like that. By the time we release this episode,
I didn't get a chance to see the 4th episode, but I did see the 3rd one.
I'm still really enjoying it. There's some shit like fuck Kikyo, even though it's not really Kikyo, whatever, but fuck Kikyo, but I'm still really, really liking it. I really like the trio of main characters. I really like what they're doing, in comparison to like how especially early on, I didn't really care for the Boruto anime at all. I think they're doing this whole next generation shit a lot better. It feels fresh. It doesn't feel like these are carbon copies of their parents. I'm really, really enjoying this show, so I'll just leave it at that. Is it quality wise? Is it critically like, oh my god, no. But as far as enjoyment wise, I'm having a blast with it, more so than I thought I would, because I'm not the biggest Inuyasha fan. I will sit here and shit on Naraku and all the dumb shit that Inuyasha has done, but I am having a blast with it. Go ahead, Shintai, take it away.
I will say this. Some people were saying that I was too harsh last time. And I would, I listened back to the episode, listen back to what I said. And you know what? I kind of agree. I think I was being too hard on the episode. I don't think that it was a great episode, but maybe I was like, all right. Maybe it wasn't like a 4 out of 10, like that
4 out of 5.
definitely not a 4 out of 5. But it wasn't a 4 out of 10. That was too harsh. It wasn't bad. It was, I will say this though. I found myself enjoying episode 3 more. I was watching episode 3 and I was like, there was more stuff there for me to like kind of like latch onto. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to start watching this on the regular. Like, I think I'm done with the show. I'm not.
Oh, no.
I'm not enjoying it that much. But I will say, like, after watching episode 3, I was like, episode 3 was pretty decent. I really liked how Toa is still going strong as best girl. She's still great.
Moroha picked up, and Setsuna, they picked up. I'll say that.
Yeah, I found Setsuna more likable in episode 3. I found wait, no, Setsuna is Toa's sister.
Yes.
No, I found
yes.
Setsuna less likable in episode 3. I was like,
because I'm confused with episodes 3 and 4, because it's like kind of like merged together in my mind. Where did episode 3 end off? So I couldn't know the difference, because one of those episodes, like, it brings more of Setsuna, and you start to, okay, she's where does episode 3? Do you remember what it?
Okay, so yeah, I just remembered. Some episode 3 did explain why Setsuna is such a bitch, and that's because she's been cursed and she can't go to sleep.
Right. Okay, yeah, I remember. It ends with them like staring out of a window, and Toa is like pretending to sleep but listening in on Moroha and Setsuna's conversation.
So a lot of episode 3, I was like, God, Setsuna's such a fucking bitch. She was acting worse. But then at the end, when they explain that like she can't go to sleep, she's been cursed, like this thing is like eating her dreams, and it also ate up her like childhood memories, which explains why she doesn't recognize her sister. Then I was like, oh, okay, it kind of put into perspective certain things, and I was like, all right, well played, show. That I see what you're doing. That's not too bad. I also found, I forget her name, Kagome and Inyasha's daughter,
Maroha.
Moroha. I found her really annoying in episode 2, but in episode 3, I felt like, oh, okay, I'm starting to, like, get into the vibe of her character. So
I love anytime they reference her being like related to Kagome and like the grandfather's little relationship, like really enjoying her and stuff like that. Like I love all those, like comedic wise, that's where I feel like is the sweet spot with her. Like it does start off admittedly maybe a bit annoying and shit like that, but as it grows, like you start to really just have laughs with her. Like she's just really fucking funny. She doesn't feel too extreme like either of her parents, like because Kagome was a lot of times stuck up and whiny, and Inyasha was like quiet, brooding, and
yeah, she doesn't really feel like either of them. She feels like both of them, yet neither of them at the same time. I actually really like that about her character, where they managed to find a way to make her feel like her own character, but she still carries traits from her parents.
I like that. Like again, I'm a lot of what my mindset too is that I'm a Boruto watcher, and I go back to how I felt about Boruto the first few episodes in, and everybody unanimously fucking did not like Boruto. He was a whiny, spoiled fuck. So when I compare how I felt about Boruto early on, mind you, especially in the manga, it's changed dramatically, like way better now. But Moroha, like I don't feel like that about her at all. I feel like she's been through some shit. Clearly, she doesn't have her parents. Clearly, she's like, I don't know. I just really enjoyed this show, which I'm shocked as hell. Like I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I've been. Like I'm just really having a great time with it, which again, I did not expect to be able to, like, cause you know, you think, okay, I'm a grown ass fucking man. How am I gonna really relate to like these 14-year-old girls and shit like that? But it's not even about relating. It's just, it's fucking enjoyable. I also like the small connections to the lore, but they're not betting on the lore. Like I'm not like, here's the difference between, especially early on Boruto and this right here. Early on Boruto, I was like, can we just fucking see, like, can Naruto show up? Can Sasuke show up? Can somebody from the past just show up? This one, if they show up, cool, but I'm enjoying the characters for what they are.
Yeah, I agree with that. Watching the show, I didn't feel like we needed the old cast back. The new cast has got this.
Yep, and that's again, comparing it to Boruto, that's where I feel like it's shining. It's like it's not relying on them. It's cool and it adds an extra element, but they're rocking out. So
my biggest now here's the thing though. This is my biggest concern with the show, because Inuyasha ran for like over 100 episodes. Like, are they going to do the same thing with this show?
It's been confirmed right now, as it stands, and again, it could get extended or whatever, but this set of episodes, it's going to be, I want to say it was 24. It could be 26, but I'm almost certain it's 24 episodes. So I'm imagining it's going to be unfortunately, like a play-by-ear thing. Like, hey, if it's a success, they'll make more. If not, they'll probably have it. They're gonna have. I can almost guarantee the ending is going to be like, leave enough that if they want it to continue, they can. But it'll probably close up a good majority of the plot threads, but leave maybe a little slither of like, hey, if it's really popular, we could do season 2, which I think
it turns out that Naraku's nutsack survived, and it's back again. Just
no, it turns out that the whole fucking series, Yashahime, takes place within Naraku's nutsack.
His nutsack is the Shikon jewel.
Yo, what if it's like plot twist, Moroha is actually Naraku's daughter? I'm throwing the whole series away. Fuck this series.
That reminds me of a plot twist that occurred in a totally different franchise. I'm not even going to say what it is. I might mention it to you off camera, but yeah, I think I would feel the same.
Yeah, it's like, come on, she's really cool little character. Don't fucking bring Naraku in this shit, man. Just leave him, motherfucker. He's dead, goddammit, please.
Yo, imagine it's because Kagome left Inuyasha for Naraku.
Oh, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I'll make one more video, and I will never talk about this franchise again. Even fucking Rumiko Takahashi might catch a stray, and I know she's not involved in this shit, but she might even catch a stray. Like, you let this shit go down, you get into 2.
Kagome was just like, I can't, Inyasha. I need Naraku.
And she's like so obsessed with him. She doesn't even refer to him as Naraku. She's like, when he was Onigumo, he was like so innocent. I love Onigumo. Oh God, please throw it in fucking in fire. Burn that shit. Ugh.
Throw it in the trash. Trash.
So yeah, the Yashahime fucking princess. It's a shame that you're not gonna follow up because it would have been nice to catch up.
Now that you say, like, oh, it's 25, 24, 26, whatever. Maybe. That, because, like, my biggest concern was, like, man, I don't want to sit through, like, 150 fucking 3+ movies. You know, like, and then an extra 50 episodes on top of that for the final arc. I didn't want to deal with any of that bullshit. So that was like my biggest concern. I was just like, how long is this thing gonna last? But if it's like a single core show, well, I'll at least consider it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Yashahime Princess have to. I don't know, man. It honestly shocks me because like I fully expected to be here with you, just bashing the living shit out of it, like more so than even you, because you've been, for the most part, especially in this episode, you've been really just chill about it. Like if I really was like not liking it, I ain't gonna lie, I probably would have fucking put it through the shredder. But I just really, I don't know, I really fucking like it, and I'm shocked, and I can't exactly grasp why I'm liking it so much, but I really fucking like it, like genuinely, especially like I guess it was episode 4. I just really fucking like it. I don't know. So maybe it'll change. Maybe like, you know, we'll come back episode 8. I'm like, oh, it's trash.
I'll check out episode 4, because it seems like episode 4 was a turning point for you. I will at least say this, you know, jumping from episode 2 to 1, even from like, I'll even say episode 1 and then 2 and then 3. The show has gotten progressively better because that first episode was just nostalgia bait. And for me, that second episode, even though I admitted I was kind of harsh on it, I still was not a fan of that episode. I thought that it had problems.
That's fair.
But, you know, in episode 3, I didn't encounter those same problems.
No big heads. I forgot about that shit.
And while episode 3 didn't like blow me away or anything, I'm not in love with the show now or anything, at the same time I still was like, that was alright. You know, that wasn't bad. I didn't hate my time with this. This was decent. It was okay.
Hell's fucking yeah, mate. And with that, I think we've hit that time, lad. Everybody watching, thanks for watching. As always, again, comment on your underrated villains or any of the villains you agree. Maybe you got some insight or an information, or maybe you were a Kara no Kyokai fan and you got something else you want to add to the discussion of the knowledge Shintai dropped on us. And yeah, what do you watch for the week? And any recommendations of things you feel we could do to improve the show? We're always open to listen. I'm still having a fucking blast with this show. This has been a treat. 21 episodes. I did not expect, to be honest with you, because of my own inconsistencies, I did not expect to make it this far, but I'm glad we're still fucking kicking and still dropping them gems, baby.
Hell's fucking yeah.
Any final words? Any final words, lad?
Yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. If you're in the Mateus server, send me a friend request under Shin Santos. Let's play together. Let's go through some dungeons.
He's been playing the shit out of this, so
totally unrelated, but I just thought I'd throw it out there like, hey, you know, I'm level 62 Dragoon right now. I'm also a level...
Nah, I know you've been loving that shit. You've been talking about it, so...
I'm also a level 54 Dark Knight if you need a tank. So, yeah, let's fucking do some trials.
Hell's fucking yeah, lad. And with that being said, thanks for watching. This has been the ForneverWorld Podcast. Have an awesome day, people. Peace!